With the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible, we call him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seabird.
Hey, welcome to Combat Vet Vision. This is a chance where I get to talk to you about certain situations that may have occurred in my life. It's my story. It tells my opinion on life, these different things, but it's also the opinions of those combat vets that get on here and they tell their stories. They tell their lives a little bit. Our sponsors, supporters, volunteers, there's a lot of different aspects to this. Combat Vet Vision is brought to you by SitchRadio.com. Brian Colburn runs that. Thanks to him, he pushed me to have this podcast, and I'm bringing back Phil from K9 Global Rescue today, and he's going to give us kind of an update. And he's been back and forth to Ukraine, helping rescue service animals off the front lines for quite a time. A combat vet himself, and wants to still be part of doing something that's incredible. And he's got this nonprofit that does a lot of amazing things. So. Hey, Phil, thanks a lot. For OPSEC reasons, he will not be putting his face on the screen because he is getting ready to go back in some number of weeks. But you'll be able to see his emblem up here, so you can kind of get familiar with it. K9 Global Rescue. Phil, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty well, brother. How you doing?
It's good to hear from you. I'm doing well. I got this little cold. So I look forward to hearing a lot out of you, and you could give us some updates. The last time, I get to see a lot of stuff that you're doing online, and some of the cool things that I saw you do. Not only are you doing this, but there's a humanitarian piece where you were taking warm weather gear and some other stuff with you. Some massive amounts of support elements to Ukraine. So. Talk about what you got going on, what you've already done.
So the last trip that we went on, that we got back from about a month ago, we took 3 pallets of cold weather equipment, not only for the Ukrainians but for the civilian population that was affected as well. There's a large disconnect between what people are seeing on the news and hearing as far as the amount of aid that's being taken into Ukraine. People are saying, well, we're sending billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. Well, that's fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, the guys who are in the trenches don't have boots, they don't have cold weather stuff, they don't have fleeces, they don't have the basic necessities that they need. And we do get a lot of pushback of, why are you taking stuff over when there's so much money that's going out there? And the majority of the folks who are saying this are ones who, A, have never put on a uniform, and B, would never step foot into the box. But we made a difference to a lot of guys who ended up with a lot more than they had at the beginning of that day. And by the time we were done, we had made the difference in the lives of over 500 animals whose lives were dramatically changed, as well as their owners, in a lot of instances based off of our mission. Hold on, I've lost you. I've lost audio.
Oh wait, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, there you
I had
go.
it on mute. Hey, you've gone back and forth how many times now?
This next trip will be my eighth time actually to the front lines.
8th. Yeah, that's an incredible amount. And I just saw a story. I think I saw it yesterday in Reddit. I do a lot of reading there, but one guy had this dog that he had, for a period of time, but then I think he got hit and lost his life, and his family spent a lot of time trying to find this dog, and they ended up finding it, and it got back to the family, and so it's now part of that family. And I feel like when you lose somebody on the front lines like that, that was such an important piece because his intent was to take it back with him after the war, but it just didn't work out for him. Obviously, the front line's a super dangerous place, causing a lot of problems. But you're still going in there and rescuing up to 100 animals a day. What's your record right now on
Yeah,
that?
when total amount with 2 vehicles, our top came from Bakhmut on this last trip. We had 71 in our vehicle, in our van, and the other van had 40. So we had a total of 111 in one day.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the last day that, for safety wise, that we were able to get into Bakhmut. It ended up turning into a 32-hour mission because there was just so much that had to get done, and we knew our window of opportunity was closing. So we took every minute and every opportunity that we could, and that was our last trip in.
Yeah, and I remember seeing your clip where you're driving down the road and you got basically stopped and said, "Hey, you can't go down this road anymore. We're blocking it off, and we gotta set up because the enemy's right down the road." I remember you were given kind of a heads up, basically brief on that in the road as it was kind of snowing, rainy kind of day.
It was a nasty day, and it was towards the end of the day. We had been running a little bit behind. Again, that was a day we were trying to get as many as we possibly could. I think we got something like 40 or 50 that day on our platform, and this Ukrainian pickup truck came by, slammed on the brakes, backed up, and said, "What are you guys doing here?" Our terps told him exactly what we were doing, and he said, "You need to leave, because just down the road," he said, "you see the road down there, just over that hill," and it was less than a quarter mile away. We're like, "Yeah." He goes, "The Russians are right on the other side of that. We're trying to set up defensive positions and perimeters. You need to turn around." And we're fortunate that he did come and tell us that, because that was going to be our exfil route, to drive down that road and head back down and loop back around. So we are right up against the zero line. We are right up against the red line. On a previous trip, we actually ended up in Russian territory unknowing to us. There's such a dynamic that's going on there right now that one minute you don't know exactly where the Russians are. The next minute they're right on top of you, and the next day they might be 4 or 5 miles away. It's so sporadic as far as what the frontal lobe of the offensive lines are, that you literally don't know hour by hour what's around you.
Right. And let's go into some parts where, what is it that got you going in this, and how big of an organization is Canine Global Rescue? When did you start this? What was your motivation behind it? And how many people are part of your organization right now?
Yeah, so we actually, I was working for another org. I was overseeing international operations. Was working undercover in the dog meat trade in Korea, and had a trip back in 15 that our CONUS facilitators pretty much didn't do anything that they were supposed to do. We had a financial sponsor, a financial backer for that particular mission, and I was over in Korea solo. Found out that the information that he was being fed versus what they were feeding me were two completely opposite aspects. We finally linked up on comms and started discussing things and said, "Yeah, we could do this better." So into 15, going into 16, we said, we might as well just go ahead and start our own org. We started pushing hard, and our main focus was the dog meat trade in Korea. My partner John had a lot of experience and a past history in Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam. I had experience all within Korea for years, as well as doing search and rescue and disaster response uh, with people and animals. So we started really focusing on Korea, shut down several dog meat farms, went in, exposed the meat industry for what it really was over there, opened a lot of people's eyes, and then COVID hit. So COVID kind of put the kibosh on the majority of what we were doing, because when Korea shut down, that pretty much shut our ability to operate off. At that point in time, we basically sat for 2 years. All donations dried up. Followers went elsewhere because they wanted to see people who were actually doing stuff. And at that point, unfortunately, we were sitters. We weren't doers, as it happened to a lot of NGOs and just a lot of people in general in life, that COVID upended everything that they did. The war in Ukraine kicked off. We decided, well, here's an opportunity to try to make a difference, and started going over there last April, well, end of March, less than 30 days after the war started. I was in Ukraine, and we went over there, stayed for roughly 10 days, got a few things done, but it was pretty much an assess and address type mission. Got some connections, got some contacts, gradually grew them from there. Now we run 2 teams. My partner John, he runs the humanitarian side, so they're taking supplies, food, and other necessary items in to Ukraine. And then on the flip side, we have the extraction teams, which are what I run, and we will actually go in, and that's where we hit the 1 and the 0 lines, and we're going in, working, pulling 50, 60, 70, 100 animals at a time out of these areas, going right up onto the Russian border. So we've diversified now, where we have lateral coverage in order to assist pretty much everybody who's in need, both the people and the animals. There are 2 of us who founded the org. There are 2 of us who kind of run the org. We have volunteers who come over with us. Everybody that comes with me, they're personal friends of mine that I know, fellow paratroopers, fellow vets, combat. Pretty much everybody needs to have done at least a pump overseas or have some type of a tactical background. And we go in, and trips are getting longer now. The op tempo is getting higher, and the results are getting greater, and the impact that we're making is increasing as well. So for a 2-person organization with a bunch of hard charging volunteers, we've now become the go-to organization for tactical extractions of animals and tactical assistance that is not contained within Ukraine itself. We have some partner organizations that we work with that are based within Ukraine. One especially in particular out of Kharkiv, and they go side by side with us right into the thick of it. And none of them have military training, but they've got more combat time and more time under shell than most anybody that I know.
Yeah, it's definitely getting that way now. A year into it, a year plus, and yeah, these guys are becoming hardened and understanding a lot more about tactics for sure, just by course of action requirements. Yeah. So what are your needs, and how do you acquire a lot of your support?
So needs, obviously, it's financial. Financial needs are always at the forefront of every organization and every mission that runs. You can't have a mission packet without the financial means in order to pay for it. Supplemental to that, it's support on the ground, such as having the supplies that we need. We're going in with just the smallest of things: collars, leashes, flea and tick medications, medical supplies, IFAKs. Now we're getting a lot of requests from the Ukrainians for boots, for now coming up into spring and summer. Now that the snows are melting, the rains are coming, the mud is there. Clothing for environmentally, proper environmental protection for them. The list that they give us, for as embattled as they are very humble requests that they have. They're asking for footwear. They're asking for, some of them are asking for better helmets. Some of them don't even have helmets. But for us to do our job with the animals, it's dog crates. This last trip alone, well, the trip before, broke seven canine kennels, and we had to replace those. I did what was called Operation Dog Crate. We fundraised about $800 to get new dog kennels. But mission cost to go over there this last trip was about $14,000. So costs are always at the forefront. And now that people are starting to come back into Kharkiv and they're coming back into Ukraine, costs are going up because more people are there and the businesses are starting to charge more for services and products. People can help. They can go onto our website. They can go to our Facebook page, and they can click the donate button. They can make donations. They can scroll down. They can see our stories, the videos that I post. There's probably 50% of the time or so, there's a donate button on there. All donations are tax deductible. We're a 501c3 charity. And in addition, if we've got guys that have deployed that are combat vets, who are animal lovers, who are proficient and confident in handling animals, for the right person, I would take them down range and get them into the fray to help out. So that's primarily what we're looking for, and primarily what our needs are. The most important thing that we need, though, is we need this war to end, because these people they've had enough.
Exactly. Hey, we're going to take a quick break real quick. One of my the sponsor that I have is the VA. So we can just do this PSA. I'll come back and talk about this upcoming mission, and how if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they can, and become part of your mission. We'll work on that part. Give me 1 sec.
Yep.
We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Mike Richmond of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with this message for veterans. Did you serve in the military? Veterans deserve world-class health care. You can help by joining the Million Veteran Program.
Kelly!
MVP is VA's national voluntary research program to better understand how genes affect
I'm
health.
doing a phone
Over
conference right
900,000
now.
veteran
So
participants, MVP is one of the largest research programs in the world, with breakthroughs in PTSD, depression, heart disease, cancer, and more. With your help, the program can make more discoveries in areas that matter most to veterans. Go to mvp.va.gov to sign up, or call 866-441-6075 to schedule an appointment at a participating VA. You don't have to receive your care at VA to join. I'm Mike Richmond.
Hey, we're just here with Phil with K9 Global Rescue, a nonprofit organization. He's a combat vet that is going out and really doing a lot to save and rescue animals off the front lines in Ukraine. And hey, I was just talking to you before about if somebody really wants to be part of this, they could definitely get involved with you. But the requirements are that you have to be pretty much a combat vet, have served, gone over, done some stuff, have a pretty good evaluation of your head on your shoulders, and this is definitely something that it's probably super rewarding if you want to talk about that, and then talk about the therapeutic effect of getting back involved into a combat situation. It's always something that I think is on the forefront of each one of us combat vet guys.
Yeah, and I'll start with that because this is actually done more for my mental health, and I think it's done more to help me personally than any counseling or any group therapy or anything that I've been through since being diagnosed with PTSD and living with PTSD now. Now I will say, not all outcomes are the same, and experiences may vary. Uh, but everybody who's gone over with me and that's gone over with us as a group, as an org, whether it be on my team or John's team, or in the beginning where we kind of were consolidated together, uh, they've come back with just an absolute huge appreciation, and everybody wants to go back. Um, the reward out of it is when you see the resiliency of these people, and the thanks that not only the people but the animals, and by helping the animals you're helping the people, that they give you just because you don't speak the language. The obvious, the expression of gratitude is completely there, and you know that they're happy for you for what you've done for them. For me personally, this has probably been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. Um, when I initially went in, I thought, oh, this is going to trigger me. I'm going to have triggers. I'm going to I'm going to falter, or I'm going to have flashbacks. Your mind turns on, and it takes you to a different place. It takes you back to I wouldn't say the machine, but it takes you back to that autopilot mode that you're in from all the training that you've received, and it gives you a sense of purpose. I always wondered where my life was going. I didn't know what purpose I had. Once I started collecting my pension, I wondered what my worth was in life, and I don't wonder that anymore. Um, I found a purpose, and I found something that has given me a greater reward than pretty much anything I've ever done. Um, because you're truly seeing the results, and you're seeing the fruits of your labors and the hours and the incomings, because you see immediately the instant gratification from those who you help. And it's about them, it's not about us. For guys that want to get involved with it, absolutely, you definitely, just like you hit on, you definitely need to have a combat background. We can't teach you how to respond under fire. We can't teach you how to respond when the whistle comes in. We can't teach you how to respond with the heat, the smell, the sounds, and everything else. Um, I can promise you that it's an experience like none other, and these are experience and memories that you'll cherish, and you'll carry with you forever. Um, and For those of you who have kind of been looking for a way to help, to get back into the fray, to you might be a bit mucho now, and you want to get back to doing some of those macho things and just feeling like the good old days with the boys. It is an opportunity to do it. There is some work. We have lost friends over there, so there is some heartache, but it's had the complete opposite effect for everybody that's gone over, as far as the PTSD that that they were afraid that might have. Uh, haven't had anybody freak out, haven't had anybody trigger, haven't had anybody flashback. Um, Everybody has actually said that it's been very therapeutic for them to be there, which truly surprised me.
Yeah, I would think, Phil, I think that, as you've gone through some of these things to get to the point where you're doing this now, you've gone through a lot of post-traumatic growth, meaning, you know, you always had to be worried about what's going on with this or that, or am I going to have these flashbacks? But you've gone through a little bit of therapy. You've had some downtime to obviously make it to this. You know, it's been 20 years since the initial push in Iraq. You know, we've had some time to kind of grow in ourselves. And most people, if you're doing, you know, moving forward in a positive direction, and you're in a stable position in your life, this is really going to be good for you. This is really going to be, you know, it's a sense of danger. There's going to be, it's obviously a dangerous mission. But I mean, you've been there before, and this is a seasoned kind of an event. So if you're on the fence on whether or not you want to do this, or you're thinking about it, you know, definitely put all those things on your list to ensure that this is something you'd really want to do. But it's a great opportunity. I'd jump on it. There's things that are preventing me from not, but you know, it's definitely something that's on my mind all the time, and it's one of those coolest kind of things that you're doing is rescuing these dogs. And if, you know, you're not really allowed to show any carnage in any platform that you could think of, you know, YouTube, Facebook, any of this stuff. However, you know, the carnage of these animals you can see, and if you see these animals, that's a reflection of what's going on to the veterans, the combat guys on the front lines. So it's an interesting thing that you get to show a lot of the stuff that's going on. You got animals that are really jacked up that you're taking care of as well, and you got animals that aren't, but you know, you're still doing a great service and getting them to the vets, getting them to the people. And talk about that. I think you said you get these animals that are lost on the front lines back to their owners at about a 80% return rate. Okay.
It's now it's dropped. Now we're at about 50 to 60% now. We were between 70 and 80 in the initial, or when people were. Can you hear me? Can you hear me still?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
I hear you.
I think you're on mute again. Okay. So we were at a 70 to 80% when the war initially kicked off. Now that we're further in,
Yeah, I lost sound from you, Phil. Are you there? Well, hopefully we get Phil back.
Hey, Chief, he muted his mic.
Oh. Hey, Phil, you might have muted your mic. Oh, maybe he's got something going on. Hey, but you know, I just want to put out there.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, there you go, Phil.
Okay, and you're still on mute to me, but yeah, we started out, we were at like 70 to 80%. As the war progressed and as people started going further and further away and not coming back, those numbers reduced. Now we're at 50 to 60%, and it's to the point that we're getting calls from folks and we're getting requests from people saying, I want to leave, but I can't leave with my animal, and I want to meet up with my animal. Can you guys pick them up and take them somewhere safe, and we'll meet up with them? But we're like, of course. And then you have the folks in the areas in the north and northeastern regions, far northeastern regions, within half a mile of the Russian border. They're just too scared to get back there, and they can't get back there. So the call comes out, can you guys go and get our animals? And they have homes waiting for them. The great thing about the group that we work with over there is daily they will put up pictures of all the animals that we save, or that we collect, or that we get, and they make efforts in order to either A, reunite them with the families, B, find foster homes for them, or C, find new homes for them within the borders of Ukraine and beyond. And those foster homes are for families that they have identified their animals. They want their animals back, but they're not in Ukraine right now, or they've been evacuated. So they find foster homes in order to keep these animals until their families can come back and they can be reunited. So it's really interesting to see the process of this. And then we've had some reunions out on the road where animals have escaped and they've run through the villages. They got scared to death due to the artillery, and we just happened to have them in the back of the van when we went up to another address, and it just so happened that this was that particular animal's owner. So we've had some street level reunions as well, which has been great. These people never thought they'd see their animals again. We just like to think that what we're doing over there is providing a modicum of hope for some of these people who, in a lot of cases, have lost the majority of, if not all, of the hope that they had.
Yeah, great stuff, Phil. And I really enjoy having these conversations with you and figuring out what you're doing. I think it's a very valid, awesome reason. I love the therapeutic effect that it has for you. That's super and awesome, like side product to what you're doing. But you're right. When we went into Iraq or Afghanistan, the purpose was a massive purpose, but we didn't really get to see it for its reality. We just had to assume that we were doing the right thing, right? You get to see that you're doing the right thing. It's instantaneous. You've done a good deed. You've knocked out all these cool things. So it's really cool. Hey, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, please tell us how that can happen. Any last words, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Chief, he popped off.
Oh, well, hey, I'm just gonna say, Phil's got an amazing organization that he's putting out, and it's a nonprofit. It's designed to rescue animals from all kinds of different places. Obviously, starting in Korea and doing all these different things to what he's doing now. And I definitely hope that if you have interest in any of the stuff that's going on my show, please hit me up. If you want to be on my show, hit me up. This is Combat Vet Vision. This is a place where combat vets get to tell their stories. This is a combat vet that's getting to tell a story. Not only that, but he's also got a nonprofit that's doing some cool stuff. And Phil, I understand you're back, so please, if you don't mind, how could people get a hold of you? And
probably the best way.
Yeah, and any last words?
No, I think the best way that they can, if anybody's interested in our mission, the best way, if for those of you guys that know Chief and that you definitely have an interest in, and fire him over some questions. It's probably best to have everything go through Chief, just because I'm getting ready to be out of pocket here. You guys can find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/K9. That's Kilo 9 Global Rescue. Our website's k9globalrescue.org, and there's pictures and stuff up from John's trip that they recently took. They're in the process of getting their pictures up, so you can see all sides of what we do. You can see the humanitarian side, the delivering aid to the refugees, and then you can see the animal rescue stuff. So it'll give you an idea of kind of the multifacets of what we're doing, and we're finalizing now some dogs that, unfortunately, we had a parvo case tear through a family of dogs that we rescued that were going to veterans to become service dogs. So we have a mother and her surviving pup that are going to be coming to the U.S. to become service dogs for some needing vets through another nonprofit out there that helps vets with PTSD and suicide. So we are going to work on hopefully expanding that program as well, in order to rescue the dogs from one war and bring them back to rescue and save the veterans from another one, from another war. So that's going to be a dynamic evolution as time goes. So we do have a lot, and we would love to have folks involved. Also, with hurricane season coming up, we do disaster response
here in the United States if somebody doesn't want to go overseas and put themselves in the middle of the fray. So we do go in and we do disaster response and technical rescue of animals in disasters as well. So that's something that folks can get involved with if they don't feel that the bang stuff is for them.
Hey, great stuff, Phil. Thank you very much for being on the show again. And thanks for everything that you're doing. Much appreciation.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for helping our brothers and sisters out there who need it.
Yeah. Hey, this is Aaron Siebert. I'm lucky to be alive after being hit with a mortar round myself in 2006 in Iraq. My third time over there as a mid-team guy embedded with the Iraqi military, helping them take over their country. There's a lot of amazing people doing amazing things out there. A lot of nonprofits. You know, I definitely talk and focus on the PTSD Foundation of America, uh, Warrior Built Foundation, but obviously Canine Global Rescue on today. And there's so many other nonprofits that are doing some incredible things. I love to get your stories. You as combat vets, your stories will be impressive. There's a lot of sponsors, supporters, volunteers. If you have any interest in my show, let me know. I got a first responder that's getting ready to do some cool, amazing things. That he's actually trying to build an app for some first responder coordinated pieces. And that's another thing the PTSD Foundation does that I don't focus on enough, and I don't say it enough. But not only do we take care of combat vets, we also take care of first responders. Although there's not a way to go to Camp Hope for the first responders, they're allowed to be in the meetings that we provide sometimes. And so there is a first responder meeting. There are some other groups that are available. So please look me up, hit me up, ask me some questions. I'll answer them. And the reason why Phil wants me to vet some guys is because, if you're a vet that's dealing with some stuff, if you're a good fit, I'll know. If I know you, if not, I'll vet you out, make sure that it's good to go. Um, that's what I do. I really help combat vets find a lot of different avenues of what's good for you. What what is it that's going to inspire you to move forward in a positive direction? And for you that are helping, for you as society that wants to know a peek into what we're doing, this might be the place to check it out. This is Combat Vet Vision. This is Aaron Siebert signing off. Strength and honor. Out.